Good evening, folks. Welcome. Good to see everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Cliff, aka Foxit Outdoors, and welcome to another glorious gardening Saturday. Well, let me get that covered because that's kind of annoying. All right. Now it's not as bad. All you see is the orange hat. I do hope people show up today because it would be a shame if nobody did. And first person here, good evening, Jason. Hello, Molly. Because I know Molly's sitting right next to you. I'm enjoying myself a rather large container of Tang. And no, it is not a normal container of Tang. I washed out my peanuts container and chucked a bunch of 2 inch by 2 inch square ice cubes in there and filled it with Tang. And now I have a nice fat drink to tide me over. It's like a liter and a half. How you doing? I will be disappearing here momentarily to go get some food. I do apologize. I barely walked in the door like 10 minutes ago. It's been a hectic week, and it's still going to continue until like next Friday. So I am just worn out, beyond worn out. I wish I wasn't worn out, but I am. It just is what it is. I'm trying to get stuff organized here because everything's all crappy. The only ones in here so far are just you and me, Jason. Nice. I'll be having probably two beverages tonight. It's been one of those weeks. I have just been nonstop, just running myself ragged. And I apologize for the squeaky chair. Good evening, Colin. How's it going? I've got the door open so I can. Nice. Congratulations. That's awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. I'll be back in just a second, folks. My food should just about be ready. I do apologize. But like I said, I walked in the door like 10, 15 minutes ago. And yeah, it's been a rough day. So I'll be back. Okay, sorry for the absence. I am back. Not like there's a whole lot of people in here. Oh, actually, there is a whole lot of people in here. Ooh, look at that. I got a bunch of people in here. I'm having a pizza because that's all I have time for right now. I don't have time to do anything else. So, Tostino's Pizza it is. Good evening there, Bill. To answer your question, I don't know if you got my message or my reply from YouTube. The seeds were the Ferrymorse Easy Sow cucumbers. I think I still have the package from original, or the original packaging. Let me check. Yeah, I think I actually do have the original package. And if I don't have the original package, that just means that I used all of my seeds for that. But I should have the original package. I'm hoping. Yeah, there. Oh, so here we go. All right, so this is what those cucumbers were. Those were the Garden Bush Slicer hybrids. So there's that. There you go, Bill, for the what variety that I have on those. I kept that package for that exact reason. Yeah, no problem. Those are I've been having really good luck with those seeds over that particular variety of cucumber. They have done really well for me in this location, and they are very container friendly. Yeah, so the hybrid just means you're going to get one of two versions of it. You're either going to get the original version or the hybrid version. So you got a 50-50 chance of getting whichever version is going to decide to germinate that season. But all in all, it seems to work. It does work exceptionally well in a small container. Like I said, the pot that I have mine currently in with that little mini fan trellis, it's in an 8-inch nursery pot, 8x8, or it might be 8x10 nursery pot. But yeah, it's about an 8-inch nursery pot. So, and then what I do, I just have it like you saw in the video. I have it in a larger pot just to keep the base shaded and to allow it to hold water. I usually put about 3-4 inches of water in there, and then I just leave it for a couple of days. I used a little bit of both. So I do add, sorry, I don't know why I'm yelling at you guys. I apologize. I'm over here like screaming. Sorry for that. So the soil blend that I used was mostly handmade. Essentially what it is like 3 or 4 bags of soil from the store. So it's, I was using Miracle-Gro, topsoil mix, sifted, because I hate their topsoil mix. There's just too big the chunks are just too big. So I always use that stuff for mulch covering. I always use a bag of the Cow King manure, a bag of the mushroom compost, and then I usually use like some garden soil or whatnot. And then if I really decide I want to make it kind of fluffier, I'll add a whole bag of seed starter mix, which gives it a little bit more fluffiness, also gives it a little bit more water retention. And then I just mix it all together, and I'll usually throw in like, I don't know, a couple of shovelfuls of native soil after I sift it because I don't want the rocks in there. So I usually get a good sized wheelbarrow full. I usually have to do them in half batches because if I do it all at once, I don't have a container big enough to mix it all. But that's what I've been using for about the last 4 or 5 years. And it seems to work. Every once in a while, I just add some new soil, and that's really all I do. But that stuff works great for me in my location. Again, like you always say, Bill, these are always just suggestions and, points of view for what works in my location. You have relatively the same kind of area since you're in the same zone. The blend might work for you as well. Good evening, Deb. How's it going? Now you can add perlite, but I had to stop doing that because perlite was like $30 a bag for 2 cubic foot bag. I'm sorry, you can actually hear the crunch. Sometimes the speaker's really sensitive. I'll try not to fart because I don't want to blow out your eardrums. It was cheap. I was adding it to a lot of my soil to give my soil more loft. But the problem is I live in an area where there's a lot of wind, and the wind always comes from the freaking southwest and blows northeast. So it was always blowing all of my perlite off of my planters. I'd be walking around the yard, and everywhere there's like a solid space, the perlite would be lined up in that area. Nice. Deb's got cherry tomatoes, and I picked a whole bunch of freaking cucumbers the other day. 6 pounds of cucumbers. 8 cucumbers totaling 6 pounds. It's not too bad. Come on, camera. I don't have time for this. Camera. Thank you. I didn't see the comment. I'll have to go through the comments and check on it. But yeah, Deb, I grew those in a small container. Yeah, essentially most cat litters fired clay. Oh, that cat litter that's wood based, like clay pellets, is absolutely terrible. I don't recommend anybody use that for their cat. However, on a different spin, you can actually use that in soil mixes because that stuff has a high water retention. So you can actually mix those pellets into your soil. Now it's going to take it'll take a year or two to break that stuff down, but you're also adding nutrients and other things for all your microbes and macrobes to eat on while it's decaying. And again, does help with water retention. Oh, and you had puppies? I didn't know you had puppies. I must have missed that video. Yeah, I've never been a fan of using the wood pellets as a cat litter. Oh, nice. And I'm assuming that's going to be Daniel. I'm hoping it's Daniel. If not, I will find out shortly. Good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome. Daniel it is. Yeah, I suppose you could use the rabbit pellets or even the like hamster food, like a hamster feed. Ha! Those would not work so well. Oh snap! I bet you it's a skunk. Now it won't be a rabbit. Rabbits aren't going to bother to eat through the packaging to eat the bottom of it. They'll just climb up on there and they'll just eat it from the top. I bet you a dollar it was. I bet you dollars to donut. It was either a skunk or a raccoon. Nice. No, I think skunk or raccoon. Whatever got Mr. Goose. I feel you on that one. Actually, I don't even think 48-inch tall would stop them. Deer don't care about chicken wire. They'll just knock it over. Don't believe me? Ask Bill. That's what Bill had around his property. He had chicken wire and the deer just ran right through it. They didn't even stop. They just tore through it to get at his peppers. Good evening, Serena. Long time no see. Thank you for joining us. How you been? Heard loud and clear, 10-4. Bill's afraid of spiders. I'm going to get me an extra long sleeved white shirt and I'm just going to be all whispering at Bill over there. I'm going to be like, ooh. Yeah, do what you can, Colin. Do what you can with what you got. Can always go vertical. but still enough bed space to grow a few things. A couple of carrots, tomato plant, some beans. Now, see, Bill doesn't like additional web browsers popping up at home. I will admit I'm not super technical on some of the plant jargon that is out there. I essentially just grow by luck. I stick it in the ground. If it doesn't work, I don't do it. If it works, I continue. But drooping leaves could be lack of water, lack of sunlight, lots of things. Um, Radishes, carrots take too long. Even beans are ooh, sorry. Beans are even on the rather long side. They're usually 60 to, depending on the variety, 60 to 80 days, kind of like peppers. Um, your best bet would probably be sorry about that. For a short time frame, especially in your area, lettuce, spinach. Yep. Oh, there you go. Do a half the planter with garlic in there. You have some free garlic for next season. Also recommend onions. Yep, Swiss chard's a good one. A lot of your leafy greens or brassicas. Nice. 70s and 80s. I wish I was around that. I'm still in like the 80s and 90s. It's ridiculous over here. There you go. Grow for the chickens. Oh, there's a thought, Bill. Since I'm assuming you still have the cinder blocks around the base of the chicken coop. I'd say every other hole, every other square, throw the New Zealand spinach in there for the chickens and let them just pick on it freely. Because, I mean, spinach grows pretty quick. I shall actually be planting my garlic next month. So I'm hoping to get some better garlic. I did my garlic yield this year season was terrible. All right, now we can get back to actually focusing on gardening. I'm popping up comments here in a minute. Now that I'm got at least one pizza in me. So yeah, as everybody has been stating, start getting those fall crops in, your leafy greens, your brassicas, your lettuces, your spinaches, those that have a cooler mid-range temperature. Sorry for that. I'll be back in just a brief second. Ah. No, same one I've always had. I've always had that one, and I've always had this one. I've had these ones for a long time. So, no new arm tat. Ain't nothing on this side. Left arm's got nothing. Right arm has that one and the shark. Ah. Oh, another thing is another good cool of the crop is peas. Hey, good evening, Cecilia. How are you doing? To answer your question, no, I have not. I'm still working on getting it situated. Not really flexing. I'm just Bill was commenting on my tattoos. That's my little tribal shark. And then I just have this here, which is stay, which is this. It's hard to see because it's silver, but that right there is the same as what I have on my arm. And that's currently holding seeds. So I'm blessing seeds with good energy, and hopefully this camera will decide to focus again. If not, I'm gonna have to, there we go. That was quick. Ooh, Serena with the jokes today. Good jokes it is. The undercover crops. Another zinger. Could be a bad charging port on there. Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Wahaha. Compost. Serena with another zinger. Got the jokes tonight. Heck yeah, making it fun. I'm spending the whole time popping up jokes. Oh, I can't wait for the other half. Pizza. I had Tostino's pizza. I'd eat another one, but I don't have time right now. I barely had enough time to eat that one. I literally just finished it, like 4 minutes ago? Oh, that's weird. That is very weird. But yeah, so peas are a good one. Like I said, your most of your leafy greens, lettuce is probably actually be a good time to plant lettuce for a lot of people, depending on your zone. Cooler conditions, lettuce likes to grow in about 60 to 70 degrees, roughly. I think any hotter than that, and the lettuce tends to like bolting. Which mine has done that. I tried keeping it from bolting so many times, but it just kept going. So I'm gonna have another bajillion seeds. Hey, good evening, Crystals, Pets, and Plants. How's it going? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Ah, nice. Yeah, lettuce is a boss. Swiss chard's a good one. Like I said, your leafy greens, again, spinach. Peas are a good one, like your sugar snap peas, aka these little guys. It's not the one I need. These little dudes in here. Love cooler weather. This is technically what I have left for my seed stock. And then I have a random slew of beans and corn in here. In the bottom half, this is beans and corn mixed in there. I think I have, actually, I think that's, apparently I have a cana seed in here too. I got 2 cana seeds. Oh, 3. So this is beans, corns, and flowers. So, I mean, that would be a good set for some pollinators. Gotcha, Serena. Yeah, Bill doesn't teach things. He just complains about his dirt. And all of the blackberries that he destroyed. Blackberries or raspberries? Was it the raspberry bushes? Raspberry bushes. Then do that. Plant spinach and peas. Corn takes too long. Mine did not do well, although I did have one corn cob that was 3/4 full. I was actually shocked on that one. So I was really happy with that. I will again be working on my winter experiments for the winter corn. I think I can get that within another year or 2. I should have a full strain of winter corn. I'll get that planted here probably the next 2 months. Throw that in the greenhouse and see where my luck takes me. Colin getting his tomatoes tomorrow. Bill's getting an influx of pest hunter notifications. Yes, but that's good though. Blackberries. Can't believe you got rid of all those blackberries. I would have at least dug up a couple of bushes and planted them somewhere else. Oh, they're going to get mowed. Oops, wrong button. Super mow, super go. Right? Problem with hand pollinating the corn is the tassels usually are done and then the corn decides to form. I don't know what my corn is doing, but I can never get the corn stalks with the tassels to produce at the same time as the actual pollinator, the antenna. I don't know what the hell to actually call it. Oh, I know they'll come back next year. Unless your buddy with the forklift or the tractor trenches them out, they'll just pop back up next season. Ah, I did it again. Oh, I got that same spot. All right, stop messing with my cup over here. Leaks. There's a leak in the boat. There you go. He just did. To fix the leaks. But yeah, so again, Bill, I do have those seeds. They are drying out. Once they are dried, or at least where I feel they are seasoned enough, I will plant a few of them to see whether or not they germinate. And for the heck of it, I might just grow a plant during the wintertime in the greenhouse just to see what I can do, or see if I can do it. And if those seeds are viable, I will. Yes, viability is what I'm going for. I'm probably just going to do a set of 8 to test them to see what's going to happen. If all 8 of them germinate, then I know those seeds are good, and I will send some out. Because I believe you'll be able to grow those same plants in your area without any problems. Oh, and speaking of which, that same plant, ladies and gentlemen, I now have a melon on there almost twice as fat as the one that I cut that the squirrel got. It is literally nested inside a couple of branches of the rose bush. I set it there on purpose, and that thing is absolutely humongous. So, yeah, right now that thing is about this big around and probably about almost a foot in length. Uh, I'll get if I'm going to send seeds, I'm going to send at least a minimum of 10 just in case. Because trust me, even if you can't eat all the melons, the chickens will. Correct, Liberty bell pepper. Interesting, interesting. I do not know of that particular bell pepper. Negative. Negative. I'm still working on it. I have been really busy. Yeah, I remember the first year when I first ran across it, you had an absolute metric fart load of melons. Me personally, I do not have chickens, Crystal, but I will be getting some next season. I got to get a couple of vehicles out of the way. Once those are gone from the property, I can move my chickens and get my chicken sector set up for that. And then I can hopefully get some free chicken eggs. Rainbow seed tapes from Haas. They're the only ones that have nutrients in the seed tape. I've never been, or sorry, I've never had any real good luck with a seed tape because I've had those things before where you get like the little business cards and they have like little seeds mixed in with the fibers and all that, and I've planted that before, and I just never had luck with those. So I don't know. It could be that I just waited way too long to plant those seeds, and they were just at that point they were inert, no longer viable. I don't know. I could not tell you. I'd be willing to give it a try just to see again if I can get them to germinate. Problem is, I got a lot of heat. A lot of heat. I will might have to take a look at that. No, I'm mainly just looking for eggs. I'm not really right now. I don't have the ability to process the chickens for meat, so I'm not looking for meat birds. I just need egg layers. When the time comes when they are no longer viable to lay eggs, then at that point it's going to be dinner. But that's a couple, 2, 3 years down the road when they stop. Um, there's a couple of them. what I'm probably going to end up having to do is either get him a Tractor Supply or I will go pester my neighbor. He's got a bunch of chickens. And he's always got clutches. So I can probably get, a couple of chickens from him. Maybe for trade or do something. I don't know. Maybe even pay for them. I don't care. But I can probably just get some couple, 4, 5, 6 chickens from him when need be. Even if I have to get 3 or 4 at a time, that's fine. As long as I can keep them alive to adulthood. So there's always that. Like I said, I still got a couple of months before I have to worry about getting chickens. Most likely I'll end up getting next season's stock or whatever. I won't have enough time to do it this season. Truth be told is I'm not home enough to regulate chicken temperatures and keep an eye on them all the time. So I gotta either hire somebody to help me with that or figure something out entirely. Ow, ow, ow. Come on, camera. You can do it today. There we go. Nice. Serena's got some good jokes today. Always a pleasure having some good jokes here and there. Makes light of the chat. Also gives interaction. Lets people know that they are interested in sitting here listening to me. I may not be as knowledgeable as Shawnee, but I try to be just as fun. Speaking of which, so the other day I mentioned her, I told her a PSA about mint because she was talking about chopping up mint and putting it in a compost pile. And I informed her, I was like, PSA, you do not put mint in compost or in fertilizer mix. Because I don't know if she was talking about making like compost tea with the bits and pieces of the chopped up mint. But what I was essentially trying to get at, looking back on it, I kind of, the way I worded it, it kind of sounded like I was being mean. I don't know, just my opinion. But so I couldn't really answer her back on that live just because I had to wander off and go do something really quick. I had to turn off my water for my plants. Otherwise, the water would have been running out in the street. But essentially, if you're doing hot compost, I don't recommend putting mint, any sort of mint particles, stems, leaves. I mean, you can technically, if you're under the like absolute most extreme perfect conditions, you can technically grow mint from a leaf. It can be done. Any sort of nodes that are on the mint itself can possibly grow legs, settle in, and become an entire plant. Compost tea, different scenario. There is a slight chance that they could generate legs inside the tea mix. But I think if you run enough oxygen into it or bubble it enough, I think it should be okay. I cannot say for 100% for sure on that one, but I do definitely know that if you stick mint in fertilizer, it will just explode. Not like kaboom, like your plant will just take off. Because it's like, ooh, look at all of this food energy, and it'll just, it'll go everywhere. So that's what I was trying to say. Although I did not specifically say that, but yeah, just be careful when you're messing with mint. It spreads fat, and you do not need a lot. One little node from mint. By the end of the season, you'll have a little tiny patch of mint. Next season, that patch will be 4 times that size. So why were the plants and trees drunk? They had too much root beer. Speaking of which, I probably need to get a couple of 6-pack of beer so I can run some stale beer on my compost pile, get that thing started again. Although I could just go through there and try to figure out how to turn it over with a pitchfork, because that stuff is like 4 foot deep. Why was the garden high? Because of all the weed. Well, yeah, roosters suck. They're also noisy as heck. But let's see, aside from that, oh yeah, so the melon plant, by the way, okay, so I already mentioned that thing has a backup melon. There was already one on the plant when that other one got taken. I just happened to catch where it was sitting, so I've been keeping an eye on it very vigorously. There's a backup on that particular plant, although there is 2 plants there. And then I have 3 up front. One of them is already about this big, about the size of this jar. I got to figure out what to do for that one. I think I got to put it in a net to hang it because it's on a very, very precarious hanging string. It's literally being held on by one little tendril, and it's a very thin tendril. It can get mobile if it'll grow legs. Just again, don't put mint in wet dirt. Turkin, naked chicken, naked neck. So yeah, if you want, so and here's the thing. So about a month ago, I noticed some mint growing next to we call them flames. It's basically a green flower. It looks like a little pine tree, but it's not. The leaves are thicker. It almost looks, it's a succulent. So it's got those succulent style like petals. Grows about 4 to 6 inches tall, and then it'll send out like almost a 1 foot stem, and then that stem will branch out like this, and there'll be a bunch of little purple flowers, like red and purple flowers. So we call them flames. Those things pop up everywhere in my yard, and I have to keep moving them because they keep popping up in places I don't want them. Well, next to that, basically where that one's growing, that whole footpath is ground thyme. So it's thyme, but it's ground version. So it's like ground cover thyme. I know the astronomical amount of jokes for this one, trust me. And then randomly, out of nowhere, mint popped up in there. And I'm leaving it because the property, they had tried growing mint in that area before, and they couldn't do it. I'm just going to let it go and see what it does on its own. If it takes over that whole space, heck yes, that is way more mint for me. I will have an astronomical metric freaking turtle load of mint. It's not that I don't have a giant 55-gallon planter outside with mint. 9 6x8x6 planters. Sorry, 6x12 by 6 planters. I have 9 of those full of mint. And then I have 2 16-inch planters out front as well with mint. So I have mint almost literally and metaphorically growing out of the ears, which I need to start harvesting soon so I can get that prepped for winter so I can refill our mint coffers. Sicilian buttercup? That sounds like a mushroom. Bill's over here talking about mushrooms. Yeah, because a Sicilian buttercup sounds like a mushroom. Andalusians. So there is that, folks. Again, like I said, mint. Do be very careful where you put mint and what you put mint next to. When mint gets to its mature stage, it likes to send out runners. Does the same exact thing squash does, same thing ivy does, and does the same thing strawberries, everbearing strawberries. Except for these nodes, every about a half inch is a node that will, if it's touching the ground and it's wet, it will set roots within days. Actually, if left unchecked, it'll set roots within a few hours. Good evening there, Obstacle. How's it going? Good to see you. We got approximately 10 minutes left in this live, and then we will be heading over to the second version. I am super happy with the amount of viewers I've gotten in here tonight, which is awesome. We've had a fairly good talkative night. I did lose out on a bit of it because I was munching because I had just barely gotten home like maybe 15 minutes before I started the live, so I was running a little behind. But yeah, so as we prepare for the second round of lives, which will be in approximately 15 minutes, and this week I do have minutes. I am not short on minutes. I have my full 20 hours as of the 17th. So we are good. We are good. I will try to keep those all in mind there, Bill. But right now, I don't have the physical capacity and mental capacity to deal with chickens as is currently. I do still want chickens just to help with the egg cost. And I know full well the minute I get chickens, prices of eggs are going to drop, and I'm just going to have a bunch of chickens. But at the same time, I can let them run around the yard, eat the bugs, hopefully eat all the ants, and get rid of some of these dang grasshoppers, man. I have been dealing with grasshoppers and freaking hornworms. I have unalived 15 hornworms this season alone. Last year it was like 5, and the year before that it was like 1. So I am hoping that I don't have an issue with these things next year. Ooh, a philodendron vine. Depends on how big that plant actually gets. Oh, elephant ear, essentially. Sorry, I did have to Google it because I don't necessarily know a lot of the exotic indoor plant names. So I do, again, apologize on that. I'm not a botanist, so I do have to look. It really just depends on the size of the plant itself. So, I mean, it really depends on how big you want the plant. I think they kind of like sort of cramped, tight spaces for the most part, with just a little bit of leeway. So, again, depending on the size of the plant, maybe an 8 to 10 inch pot, maybe a 10 to 12 inch pot. Again, depending on the size of the physical plant itself. I'm not worried about the chickens eating the hornworms. I just want them to eat the grasshoppers and the ants. Oops. That thing's scrolling up too fast. Yeah, chickens will eat just about darn near everything. Oh, if that's the case, I'll make a 1 foot high chicken compost bin, and I'll just let the chickens run around over there. I'm like, here, have at it. You guys can do whatever you want over here. Actually, what I'm really hoping is that the let me. Any spiders in there? Nope. The biggest thing that I'm hoping with the chickens is they'll eat the dang cockroaches that I have everywhere around here. I hope they don't eat my lizards, but if a lizard gets in its cage or the run and gets, you know, whatever, that's the lizard's problem, not mine. Ooh, roughly an 8 to 10 inch pot for the philodendron will do just fine. Sorry, my internet is going weird right now, so I apologize if I'm freezing. I am very sorry. I don't even understand this. My internet is, I'm at like 5 bars on my Wi-Fi, but StreamYard's being stupid. Yep, so even Jason says 8 to 10 inch pot. Sleeping on the couch. Let's see. Going back to that one. Sorry, my StreamYard's being stupid right now. Yes, chickens will eat chicken, and it has been proven. Sorry, Serena, my internet's being weird. Am I still blocky or glitchy, folks? Hey, maybe I'll get some of the little small snakes. Don't have a lot of those, but they pop up every now and then. I've seen chickens eat the, yeah, I've seen them go for mice. Don't have a lot of grubs, but then again, when I do have them, I can just give them a bunch. Worms. I don't eat my worms. I want my worms. Chickens or Mikey? Give it to Mikey. He eats anything. I suppose you have a point there on that one, Serena. I can work on that in the future. Half the time I just figure since I'm live, it's easier to answer a question than it is to type an answer out. Jesus, I clicked on that like 6 times. Evening, CR. Should have just waited for the other one because I'm about to, this one's only going for another 2 more minutes. But I'm at the bottom of the chat, so apologies. My StreamYard is being weird, so I might have to do a quick refresh of my computer, which usually takes a few minutes. Have not ever seen chickens eat fish, but I'm not around chickens a lot, so I don't know. Bill. You gonna stroke his hair too? Oh my god. Oh, I love my followers. You guys are hilarious. Oh man, this is funny. Dude, you guys are killing me here. This is absolutely hysterical. Throw a spider at him. That'll make his skin crawl. All right, where'd I put my lid for this? Because I won't be able to drink that with my beers. But anyways, folks, all right, we got 30 seconds left in this. Do me a flavor. Do me a flavor. Mint. Since we're talking flavors, we're talking mint. Do me a flavor and a solid. On the way out, hit that thumbs up, like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Hit that thumbs up and share this out with friends and family. And we will see you folks on the next one. I hope everyone had a good garden chat with me. Again, I'm not as organized or prompt as some people. I just try to get through the day. But anyways, folks, I'll catch you here in just a few more minutes. And yeah, aside from that, be well, be safe, take care, and don't forget to plant something. Bye.